Hey team, welcome back. So we are looking at what could perhaps be the very last video of this lecture. Let's get coding because we're probably going to be able to be done either this one or the next one. So where we left things in the past lecture is that when if we create a sample task, because right now I just restarted my server and we don't have any tasks yet. If I go to view update and if I come here to inspect and go to Redux, then you see that we can load the task that we want to update here, right? And this looks good, and that's what we're looking for. So there are a few things here that we need to do. So first, that we need to do. Sorry, we need to obviously create or make the update form. We need to turn it into a control form, right? Just like we did for the add project task. And then the next thing that we want to do obviously is load this from here onto here. All right, and that's going to be something that we should be able to accomplish in this video. So if we go to source, components, project task, if we go to the update project task component, make some room here for you guys to see. First thing we want to do is implement a constructor. In this constructor, we're going to set up the initial state of our input fields, right? So I'm gonna start by wiring this up. So it's constructor, then super here, because remember we're extending component, and then just in the interest of time, I am going to just copy and paste the ID fields here that we want to initialize. So basically we're going to do this.state, and then we want to pass it this object with blank data. All right, so remember, when we're creating, we only care about the summary, the acceptance criteria, and the status. But remember when we were doing the backend, that Java, if you pass it I'm sorry, if in JPA you pass it the ID, and if it exists, then it automatically helps you update that specific object. So in this case, in this use case, we need to make sure that we pass the ID of the existing project task that we want to update. Alright, so with that in place, then the next thing that we want to do to make our form controlled is obviously make sure that we assign the value in the input field to the state of the component. And for this, we're going to come to each one of the input fields. And we're going to say value, and we're going to say this.state dot say summary. And then we're going to do the same with acceptance criteria. And then value this.state.status. Okay, cool. Now with this in place, you shouldn't be able to type here anymore. We cannot, which is good, right? We cannot update this anymore. All right, so now moving forward, and if you guys remember this from when we did the first form, then now we need to actually set up a function so that we can handle our changes in so we can handle changes on the input field, so that we can actually handle those events, right? So here, right under component did mount, I'm gonna type on change, and then what we're gonna do is this.setState, and then we're gonna use that same syntax that we used before, e.target.name. Remember, E is for event, target. This is JavaScript. This is vanilla JavaScript, right? And we're talking about the target, the specific say component, right? And then name the specific component in the DOM, I think. And then obviously when we talk about name, we're talking about this attribute here. Okay. Sorry guys, my throat is kind of raspy today. I don't know why. Anyway. And then we're gonna say e.target.value here, making sure that when we start typing, obviously whatever value that we type there is what goes to the state of this input field. Okay. All right. So now that we have this here, then the next thing that we want to do is obviously bind this to each one of the input fields so that we can go back and regain control of the input fields so that we can actually, you know, type on them again. So I'm gonna come here to the constructor first, since we're up here anyway, and just say this unchanged, dot bind this. Okay, perfect. So now that we're done with this, and sorry guys, if the video sounds a little choppy, it's just that I'm coughing a lot, and I'm just literally pausing the video so I don't cough on your ears. Right? Sorry about that. Anyway, then now that we have this here in the constructor, then we're gonna come down here and then we're gonna bind this here. Unchange equals this dot unchange. All right, and then we're gonna copy and paste this all the way here. Okay, now with this in place, obviously I think our form should completely work again, and it does. Perfect. All right, so excuse me, sorry guys. So now that we have this in place, right, the next thing that we need to work on is receiving the new props. All right, because what we wanna accomplish is that what we're trying to update is actually received as new props, and that we can actually load it in here, right? Because right now we're just typing, right? Whatever it is that we want to put in here, but what we want is to see the existing information so we know exactly what it is that we're updating, right? So that's the next thing that we need to work on. So for this, we're gonna scroll up, and I think right under the constructor, then we want to say component will receive props. I'm gonna do next props here, and then we're gonna say we're gonna do the following. We're gonna actually use the structuring to grab those props from the states, obviously from the state, and then obviously we're gonna set that state, which in the end we're gonna load on our form. Okay, so very important what we're doing here, because that's how we're setting the state, and then that's obviously going to update the value here with whatever's in the state. Okay, so I'm just gonna literally copy and paste this here, just without the errors. I don't think we need the errors right now. And then here in component will receive props. Then I'm just gonna say the following. I'll say const, and again we're gonna do this with this structuring. I'm gonna paste that here, but I'm just gonna get rid of the quote and the colon here. Perfect. And then I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say equals next props dot project task. All right, and again we're not completely done with this, but this is one of the first steps that we need to follow. And then what we want to do next is set the state, and then we can literally copy and paste this here. Actually, this comma here is gonna hurt us, so I'm just gonna copy and paste this here. Right, cool. All right, so at the very, very bottom, I think everything's in place, or so it seems. So I think that we should be at a state in which we're very close to getting things loaded onto our form, right? So let me see what else we're missing here. So we have the component will receive props, then we're setting the state. I feel that I'm missing something, I don't know, for some reason. Okay, component will receive props. We'll receive our props here, which is good. All right. So let me just restart my server here. Let me go back to my project board. Still not loading. I believe I'm missing something. I'm just trying to think what it is that I'm missing. Give me just a moment. Let me go through the code real quick. Okay, so here next props project task, which is good because that's what we're getting here. Okay, actually we have a console error. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, yeah, there's something here that's not liking. Okay. Alright guys, I do need to drink some water, so I'm just gonna pause the video and take a look at this and come right back, okay? Hey guys, apologies for the delay. I don't know why my throat is giving me a hard time today. I think I've been recording too much lately, and anyway, so yeah, just had a drink of water, feeling better. Anyway, so we were dealing with this thing, and I think I know where this is coming from, right? And let's read this for a second, because just in case you run into this, at least you're gonna have a clue where to start looking when you're guys are actually building your own projects. It says a component is changing a controlled input of type text to be uncontrolled. Input elements should not switch from controlled to uncontrolled or vice versa. Okay, so I think what's happening here is very simple. It usually doesn't like null values in the state. And I think that this is happening because I am not really extracting the project task as props over here in component will receive props. I don't think I have I'm passing a valid object here, because and I'll tell you why. When I was scrolling down just before I restarted the recording, I noticed that here in map state to props, I'm saying state.project task, right? So basically what I'm telling the state of the component is, I'm saying state.project task, but project task, which is a reducer, has project tasks and project task. Right, so I think that I need to be more specific here, that I'm pointing to the project task object. So it has to be project task. All right, and again, if you're confused, I'm gonna take a step back. Again, if we go to the reducers folder, remember, index.js in the reducers folder is the meeting place for all your reducers. So here you have project task. This project task here is the project task right over here in the state. This one right here. All right, and then if you expand this right inside, I didn't mean to do that, right inside the project task reducer, then you have project tasks and project task, and then the project task get loaded here after we do our get project tasks by ID API call, right? So that's why in the code here it has to say project task here, project task right here, and if you can see now it loads, right? If I create another one, fixed AC for acceptance criteria, and if I put it to done and if I submit, then when I come over here, now it loads. See, it loads perfectly, and we don't have any console error or errors other than things that we're not using. Don't worry about these, we're gonna take care of these. But as you can see now, it works. Okay, so make sure always that you follow, let's call it a tree, that you follow the state tree, right? Like what's how you're sending that reducer to the store, and what's in that reducer, in the reducer state, and how you manipulate the state of that particular attribute in the initial state object. Very important. All right. Okay, so now that we're done with now that we're done with that we fixed that, and our form is now loading. This is great news, by the way. I think that now we can start working on perhaps just submitting this, right? Submitting this to the backend and actually updating the project task, right? So I'm just gonna open my notes here, because to be honest, I thought that we might need a second video, but I think we can do this right now. Doesn't matter if it gets a little longer, we might as well be done, right? So the first thing that we're gonna do here is go right back to our update project task. We're gonna consult our project actions real quick, and we're gonna call this one here, right? So we're gonna import this here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Did I copy the whole thing? No, I just want this. Just want this name here. I don't know why I copied the whole code there. Yeah, there we go. So basically we are gonna grab the add project task here, and then we're also gonna bring it all the way here when we're connecting to the state. Okay, because we're gonna use that to then persist the updates, and of course we also need it right over here. So I'm literally gonna copy and paste this here. And let me see, do we need anything else? So no, just put it here in the connect, and then make sure that you have it here in the prop types. Okay, cool. All right, with this in place, then the next thing that we want to do is actually handle how we're gonna submit this to the back end. Okay, so right above the change, we're gonna create yet again an onSubmit function. Okay, we're gonna do prevent default. Okay, and then we're gonna say const updated task, and then we're going to literally grab this here, or actually, yeah, why not? We're gonna grab that there. We're gonna put it there because this is how we are creating our object, right? And then we're just going to just grab all the quotes, replace them by this.state, and then we're going to just go one by one here. ID, this.state.summary, this.state.acceptance criteria, and this.state.status. Okay, cool. So with that in place, I think that all we need to do now is come back here and then just say this.props.add project task, and then we're going to pass it the two parameters that this action takes. This action takes the updated project task, and it takes the history. So I'm just going to do that, updated task, and then this.props.history. Perfect. All right, so with this in place, now all we need to do is bind this in our constructor. 2 steps actually left. Okay, and then we need to bind it to our form, as in making this our form action. Okay, and then we're gonna just do onSubmit, and then this onSubmit. Okay, perfect. All right, so we should be able to test this now. I'm just gonna run this again. It's taking a second. It's taking its sweet time. So if I come here and I say sample update, update acceptance update, and then I put it in progress. Let's see what happens. And there it is. It works great. Let's see if we have any errors here. Yeah, we actually still need to do a few things here. But if I come here and put it in to do, fixed update, then everything is working great. Now the one thing that I do want to work on is what happens here if I try to submit this blank. Well, first of all, it's not going to work. That's great. But I think we want to see our error message, right? So at this point, I'm kind of debating whether or not I want to do this for you, because you guys should know how to do this. Should I do it or should I not? Let me think. I'm gonna be a nice guy and just deliver the whole thing. I don't want you guys to think that I'm lazy or anything. It's just that I really do want to challenge you. And I say this repeatedly in my course. Like, the purpose of this is for you guys to eventually be on your way and do your own thing, not for you guys to listen to me forever. Unless I keep coming with new stuff that you want to learn, then at that point you should listen to me. But like, when you guys know exactly what to do, just, you know, tell that guy to shut up and just go do your own coding, which is really what you guys are looking for. There's nothing more fun that sit down and do your own code. Believe me, I love it. I have a few little projects that I'm working on, and I adore just sitting down and and just coding. Put on the headphones, the wife watches TV, and I just code and say passively watch whatever movie she thinks we're watching together. That's a horrible thing to say, but she loves it too, so she gets to watch everything she wants, and I don't complain about anything because I'm not really paying attention to the movie. Anyway, hey, we have our own, we're happy that this way, so that's whatever, right? All right, guys, so basically we're saying here component will receive props if we have errors, which we will obviously do have errors if we try and submit this blank, right? If we go to Redux here and if we try and submit this blank, we're obviously going to get the error that the summary cannot be blank, right? So what we're saying here is that if we get errors from the state, then we're going to load it into our errors object. All right, with that in place, then all that's left for us to do is to actually extract the errors here in our render method. And well, obviously we're going to use restructuring again, const errors, and then from this state, all right, and then once again we are going to excuse me, we're going to use class names to go ahead and give me a second, guys, to then go ahead and display the errors, right? So again, const errors this.state, and then all we're gonna do is use this here, class names here. I don't think we need that link there anymore. Why did I bring it in for? I think I remember. Give me a second, guys. Let me just gather my thoughts. I think I brought it in for this back to board here, but this thing is working with the A tag anyway, so I'm just gonna get rid of the link here, right? We don't need that anymore. Okay, so now that we have that, let's just go and code our error handling. So again, we're gonna go to the input field where we have the summary. We're gonna surround this by by parentheses and then by curly braces. Then we're gonna say here class names, thereby using that import. Then we're gonna put a comma here, and then we're gonna put another set of curlies here. What am I doing wrong there? Oh, sorry, guys. Let me backtrack here. Right here inside the class name here, okay? We're gonna put a comma and another set of curly braces, all right? So remember, you never close parentheses here before the comma. I keep making this mistake, even though it's been a while since I've been, or it's been quite a bit of time since I've been using class names. Anyway, like I say, it's invalid. every time errors .summary. And again, all we're saying is to this class here, a form control, LG, whatever, add the isInvalid class, which is a bootstrap class, every time we have errors here. Okay, so with this in place, we can try this again. Good. And then he goes right back, okay, saying, hey, you were leaving it blank, and then he reloads the form, and that's fine. And then obviously now all we want to do is then display the error message. So basically we're gonna go here. This is the input field here. We're gonna go right under it and just error summary, and then the syntax right here. And then what this is going to do is that if we try and leave this blank, then it's gonna tell us, hey, this cannot be blank. Don't do that again. Okay. Well, guys, this is pretty much it. I think excuse me, I think the last thing that I want to do is make sure that this thing is looking good on the database, that is actually updating. And yeah, it is updating on the database. Why don't we do one more update here, just get rid of that update there, and actually why don't we actually change this to done, and let's see what the database has to say now. Done. Perfect. Right, guys, so again, it was my pleasure, it was my absolute pleasure to have done this for you guys. Again, I really do hope to see you in my course. And again, just to rehash this real quick, my Udemy course, you'll find the link in the course description. Again, tons and tons of content. We do have, again, we go all the way to deploying to Heroku, to securing with JSON Web Tokens. Lots of content here, and it's a great next step for this little app that we just created, which, to be honest, I mean, it's looking pretty good. Okay, it's looking pretty good here, as you guys can see. That 400 error, by the way, but that's because that's the 400 error that we get when we try to pass an invalid object. Okay, so you know, everything's looking really good. This is what we set to do. Nothing more, nothing less. So that's pretty much it. If you need any help, make sure that you check the branches in the description. And again, if you're interested in taking this to the next level, then please do check out my course. Thank you very much, and I'll see you around.